Opie, in the clip of Johnny Knoxville, where were you fighting with Jimmy about him not being in before James William? I saw that clip and I tried to take a passeroo on it. Yeah, I'm working with Jim Norton, especially without Anthony, was a complete nightmare. He didn't want to be there, but he wanted the paycheck from SiriusXM. There's a clip going around where Jimmy's just the piss is just in the air. Florentine is uncomfortable. I don't know where this guy got the clip, but it's making the rounds. And it was right before Johnny Knoxville came in, and Jimmy's just seething.
With Opie and Jim.
Johnny Knoxville outside the studio making his way in. We got Louis C.K. a little later. Jim Florentine in studio. What's up, Johnny? First time in studio, bro.
No, it's not. No, I think we have.
I feel like I've...
No, you've been there before.
Have you been in studio before?
Yeah.
We were trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Maybe I was not here that day. I don't know.
And there were days maybe Jimmy had a good reason to seethe. Sure, I'll take a little responsibility. But the point is, Jimmy was seething all the time. All the time. I got enough clips on my YouTube channel to show the people, but in general, I saw that clip on Twitter and I did pass on it, but then it made our big screen here. I have no idea. I literally have no idea why he was seething that day. And I wasn't perfect, and there were certainly times Jimmy was mad at me. And if he was mad at someone, he pretty much wanted to burn the whole thing down. He didn't give a crap about the show anymore, which is like one of the things you learn in broadcasting from a very early age. Program directors all over this country, when radio was really important, they would sit you down and they would say, look, whatever's going on in your life right now, leave it at the studio door. Leave it at the studio door. I don't agree with that fully, because I think some of the stuff that is bothering you could make for good radio, especially because I think a lot of people could relate to it. But a lot of the times when Jimmy was seething, he didn't want it on the air. And then he would get even madder if it was brought up on the air. So to answer your question, it was Johnny Knoxville coming in, I think, for the first time. But Jimmy was like, no. But he wasn't mad at that. He was mad about something that happened, obviously, before we called Johnny Knoxville into the studio to do some radio. I can't make it any clearer. I hated doing radio with Jimmy after Anthony left. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. Because I knew me and Anthony were in full fight mode. Jimmy was on Anthony's side. And I had to just sit there with this guy that I knew didn't respect me or want to work with me, but wanted the big paycheck from Sirius and wanted the exposure that the radio show still had for his comedy gigs. He should have left with Anthony. Those two guys were the ones that were getting along. I was third man out, but you can't play it both ways. You can't not want to be there, but accept the gig to continue. You just can't. Opie's actually correct for once, Sir Duncan. How dare you? If Jimmy left to join Compound, they would make a great show, and Opie would have more time to find new people that he had chemistry with. I never had chemistry with Jim Norton. Never. I mean, we pulled it off from time to time, certainly. But I had chemistry with pretty much every person that came in there. And then the guy that's there on a regular basis, I didn't have chemistry with. And then he has chemistry with Anthony, but chooses not to do anything with Anthony. He does the bare minimum to keep the fans at bay. The bare minimum. That means every once in a while he'll appear on Anthony's show, or he'll tell Anthony, why don't you come on my dumb character podcast? but he was never brave enough to take the giant leap and work with Anthony full time. And look, here's the reality: they would have had a great show. They absolutely would have had a great show together. They have very good chemistry.